Hello, you're watching Hornbill TV's Northeast Express. A massive protest erupted in Imphal after internally displaced people came out in large numbers from relief camps and participated in a rally at Singjamai in Imphal East, during which a scuffle broke out between police and protesters. 10 people, including 3 young students and a video journalist, sustained injuries. As assembly session is going on in the state, disgruntled internally displaced people held a protest rally demanding to return back at their original places. The protesters also partially blocked the National Highway 102. The situation became volatile as police fired several rounds of tear shells outside a school, resulting in children huddling in closed doors. 3 young school children were also injured in the incident. Police, however, ultimately controlled the situation as the protesters were convinced to return back from Singjamai Chingamakam.
तो बताइए क्या नाम है आपका?
मेरा नाम है खंबा। मैं मोरे से हूँ।
और अभी कहाँ पर है आप?
अभी अकामपा रैली कैंप में।
और ये जुलूस किस लिए हो रहा है, ये रैली किस लिए हो रहा है, ये बताइए।
अभी ये जो 3 मई 2023 का जो कुकी लोग ने हम लोग के ऊपर में हमला किया था, उसकी वजह से हम लोग यहाँ में इम्फाल में आके रैली कैंप में है अभी तक। अभी आज से मिलके अभी 15 महीना होने वाला है। 15 महीना होने वाला है। अभी तक सरकार ने हम लोग को घर तक ले जाने का कोई जवाब भी नहीं दे रहा है, कोई कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा है। इसकी वजह से हम लोग रिलीफ कैंप में जो खाना दे रहा है सरकार से, हम लोग खाना नहीं चाहिए, हम लोग को घर में जाना चाहिए। हम लोग को घर में जाने के लिए अभी भी जो मणिपुर का अभी असेंबली बैठा है, इसमें वो लोग चर्चा कीजिए। चर्चा करके हम लोग को कब लेके जाना है, हम लोग को समय दीजिए। कम से कम 1-2 महीना के अंदर में हम लोग लेके जाएगा, इसी में अंदर में हम लोग लेके जाएगा। ऐसा एक सोल्यूशन निकालिए हम लोग के लिए। नहीं होने से तो हम लोग रिलीफ कैंप में हम लोग ऐसे सड़ जाएगा, ऐसे इधर ही मर जाएगा। क्यों बोलने से रिलीफ कैंप में रहते रहते हम लोग का जो रिलीफ कैंप है वो सब अभी कोई सुसाइड कर रहा है। क्यों बोलने से बच्चा लोग का पढ़ाई का ये सब सोचने के बाद में पूरा टेंशन है। इसकी वजह से हम लोग सुसाइड पिक्चर में 3-4 आदमी सुसाइड कर चुका है, अभी और भी करेगा। क्यों बोलने से अभी हम लोग सरकार जो हम लोग को रहने का दे रहा है, वो अभी जानवर जैसा हम लोग का उधर में रखने के जो रख रहा है, जानवर जैसा, जैसे मुर्गी पालता है वैसे करके एक जगह में पूरा मिल, हम लोग को वो नहीं चाहिए। और सरकार ने अच्छा घर देने से भी हम लोग को नहीं चाहिए। हम लोग को जो टूटा घर है, हम लोग को मोरे का जो टूटा घर है, चुरचामपुर का टूटा घर है, वहाँ में हम लोग जाना चाहते हैं। हम लोग को वहाँ में जाने के लिए सरकार इंतजाम कीजिए। और अभी जो असेंबली बैठा है, इसमें एक हम लोग को सोल्यूशन निकालिए। इसी के लिए हम लोग मास रैली निकला है।
ये रैली कहाँ तक जाएगी वैसे?
मगर हम लोग जाना तो असेंबली तक जाना चाहता था, मगर यहाँ में पुलिस वाला उन्होंने रोक के इधर ही रख दिया।
तो आप लोग यही बेहतर रहेगा या क्या करेंगे आप लोग बताइए?
हम लोग इधर ही बैठेगा, जब तक आप लोग बैठ सकता है इधर ही बैठ के रहेंगे।
And to get the ground reality of the situation there in Imphal, and as mentioned, the assembly session is going on. We are joined with us by our Manipur correspondent Mubashir Raji, and we will be speaking to him regarding the protest rally by the IDPs that was held today. First of all, Mubashir, coming straight into the question, those were some heart-wrenching visuals that we received where we saw a lot of school children huddling up together to protect themselves from the tear gas being thrown, or rather being thrown by the Manipur police. So could you give us a little more details as to what this particular rally was about, and also could you give us an update on the injuries of the 3 school children and how did they get injured in this protest rally?
Well, Akibito, the issue is, this internally displaced people are getting restless, as more and more days that they are spending in this relief camp. They wanted to return back to their original place, which is not possible, and that is what the government is saying at the moment. However, they wanted to raise the issue, when the state assembly, when the state assembly is going on, and this protest started at around, suddenly started at around 11 a.m. today, but the police were not in the mood to, even let this protester, venturing out. So a scuffle broke out in this, Singamai in Imphal area, and the police resorted to violent means. I must say, they fired several rounds of, this tear gas shells, and even live rounds were fired. You might have seen a viral video in which, police are firing these live rounds, when this scuffle broke out, the protesters and the police were, in this scuffle, it happened in a nearby school, where the classes are going on, modern classes are going on inside the classroom, and, the children got really scared, by the sound of the tear gas shells and bullet and all those kind of stuff. And some children also get injured in the process. They were fortunately partially fine at the moment, but over a dozen people, in my preliminary report, I said around 10 people sustained injuries, but over a dozen people sustained injuries, including many school children and even a journalist, even a video journalist on local television network, in fact, he got injured. He was, in fact, beaten up by police, in what they say as a, mistaken identity. They thought he was a protester, for which, the journalist bodies are, even organizing a protest at the moment. So that is how things are. Yes, Akibito, back to you.
All right, Mubashir, well, ever since the violence broke out on May 3rd, 2023, this is the second time that the Manipur Assembly is holding its session. But unfortunately, even in this session, we see the abstention of the 10 Kuki MLAs. Well, just before the session had started, the United Opposition, or rather the India Bloc, had requested the present BJP government in the state to make sure that there is representation of the 10 Kuki MLAs too in the House. But this time too, they have turned down the offer. Also, regarding the session that is currently going on, do the people have any hope, or do the people have any belief that the situation could get better in sooner rather than later?
Well, Akibito, just before the start of this assembly session, monsoon session, the Chief Minister and Biren Singh himself, personally invited the 10 Kuki MLAs along with 2 ministers to join the assembly sessions, and he personally gave invitations, and he said that the state government along with all the authorities will give full cooperation to them if they wanted to join the assembly session. However, these 10 Kuki MLAs, decided to abstain themselves from the sessions, and right now there is no, no formal or informal, so I don't know, but there is no formal, peace process in the state. Even though the violence is already around 15 months old. It started in way back in May last year, and even though the violence had considerably subsided, there are small incidents here and there. But the main issue right now is this internally displaced people. They are getting frustrated as their hope of returning back to their original places. For both the communities are getting very far at the moment. So they are getting really restless. That's understandable also because there are people are even resorting to this, taking around, like, suicide cases have also been, registered in in this relief camp. So it gets frustrated. It gets frustrated. It is understandable also. You are confining to a very small space. All the people are living together, and even though the state government is saying that all the necessary, items and all the necessary precautions, all the necessary things are being provided, all the necessary facilities are being provided. However, it's never going to be same to live in their own home and in this relief camp. So that is what is happening right now at the moment. As far as state government is concerned, they seem to be in a false sense of happiness that violence has subsided to a certain level. That is what I get. The feeling. Even the Chief Minister himself, today, while addressing the assembly, this Subu MLA, Mr. Ranjit, raised the issue about this internally displaced people, taking out rally and police resorting to this violence. Means even though, the protester could have been, allowed to go there, allowed to proceed with this rally to a certain distance also. And the things could have been handled in a much, peaceful, much amicable manner, but they resorted to violence means, and it brought the assembly also. And the Chief Minister replied that the protester might have been, politically motivated and things like that, but the protester flatly denied it. Yes, Akibito.
All right, Mubashir, just a few days ago, Outer Manipur MP Alfred Arthur gave a voracious speech in the Lok Sabha during the monsoon session, and also on the motion of thanks of the budget. Well, he attacked the BJP government, and he made it clear to the whole house that more than thousands of families are still living in relief camps and have not been able to go back to their original homes since the start of the clashes on May 3rd, 2023. In this regard, wasn't the state government prepared? Because initially when the violence started, it happened between two communities, after which more than 50 to 60,000 people living in Manipur are now displaced and are now living in designated relief camps that have been set up by the government. With more than 60 to 70,000 people living in such relief camps, wasn't the state government expecting that sooner or later even these internally displaced people will not be able to live under such conditions and they will act out? Wasn't the state government already prepared for such activities to take place already?
Akibito, you rightly pointed out, both the MPs, first the inner MP, Mr. Dimol, and later on this, just recently, this, outer MP, outer Manipur MP, Mr. Mr. Alfred Arthur gave a fire speech in the parliament, and in fact, they became a star of it out after giving that speech. They are, in fact, from some quarter, there are protests also about the certain section of the state which they could go against their particular community, and they protested also. But they have become very popular after this two fire speech by the PLP. As far as state government is concerned, the Chief Minister has recently returned back from Delhi, and he met all the central leaders. But the state government at the moment seems to be happy at the fact that central government is once again giving them the confidence to run the state. That is what I get the feeling. But by and large, as far as ground reality is concerned, you rightly pointed out, internally displaced people are, the frustration level will only grow. Even for the state government also, they will not be. I don't think they will be able to, give all the satisfaction to the people who are living in relief camps for longer period of time. One way or other way, people will start the people will start their protest, and in some way or other, their pent-up anger will come out in public. There is no doubt about it. But how all these mess are going to be, to be clear, is that altogether, different things. State government at the moment is right now concerning themselves with day-to-day affairs, and they are happy that the violence has subsided, and some stray incidents are only reported, and the Taliban district only. That is what the consolation they are getting at the moment. But by and large, for the internally displaced people, both in Delhi or in Hill or in even some people have already run out from the state, and living in this Assam and other part of the country. For them, it's frustration. Yes, happy to correct you.
All right, another thing that was mentioned in Outer Manipur MP's speech on the motion of thanks on the budget was that Mr. Alfred had raised a very serious concern, stating that out of the union budget that was announced by Nirmala Sitharaman, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, well, there was no provisions or no particular fund or package for the state of Manipur, which was to say it should have been the most important state while setting the budget of the nation, especially with inflation and buying your essential commodities at the highest prices. Since the union budget did not have any specific package for Manipur, do you believe that in this ongoing Manipur Assembly session, would there be a small budget allocated just for the just so that these IDPs or these internally displaced people can go back to their homes and start living their lives like they were living before May 3rd? So do you believe that there's going to be a small package rather declared by the state government in the current Manipur Assembly session, just regarding so that these IDPs can just go back to their normal lives?
Well, Akipito, first the MP, Mr. Alfred, and then the opposition leaders. In the state, Mr. K. Megasandra pointed out that the Manipur is going through one of the worst catastrophe the independent India had ever seen. So it deserves a separate package to resettle the internally displaced people. However, Manipur also encountered one of the worst flood in last 35 year history. So Manipur has been going through a lot of issues one after another. So Manipur deserves a special mention in the budget, and special package to settle this internally displaced people. However, when we raised the same question to Minister N. Biren Singh, Mr. Biren tried to reply by saying that the center is providing enough funding to the state government, and they are managing the affairs perfectly well, and there is no shortage of funds and all those kind of stuff. But about the questions that the Chief Minister and Biren Singh will, Chief Minister and Biren Singh or the state government itself will provide a separate budget or a separate package for the internally displaced people. It is totally up to them. At the moment, we cannot say at the moment, but I will surely that whenever we get invite from the Chief Minister also. But at the moment, the assembly session is going on in full swing, and the today protest totally second the state government. I must say they totally unexpected. They were caught off guard, I must say. So we have to wait and see. Yes, I'll give it back to you.
All right, thank you, Mubashir, so much for giving us the latest info and all the information regarding this current protest that took place in Sengjamai today, and also giving us the latest updates as to what the situation, ground situation is actually in Manipur, Imphal. Thank you so much. So that was our correspondent, Manipur correspondent Mubashir Raje, and he just gave us an update stating that about more than 10 people were injured. Amongst them, 3 school children also happened to get injured in this protest rally that was being held by the internally displaced people living in the Imphal relief camps. Well, we heard one of the internally displaced people stating that he belonged to More and that they are now frustrated because they want to go back to their homes. Even though it's broken and it's in a dilapidated situation, they would still feel more comfortable living at their own homes rather than in those relief camps. And he had also sadly stated that the condition of those relief camps are like those where people are rearing chickens. Well, we hope that the situation in Manipur improves soon, and with the voice of the MPs in the parliament and that was heard quite recently. We hope that things will take a turn for the better. Well, that was all for this hour's bulletin. For more news and updates, stay tuned to HornbillTV. Goodbye.